Chapter 1877. Alright, he'd won. Yiqing Luo resisted the redness on her face as she gritted her teeth. Alright. Disperse the cold air then. If you dare to take the chance to flirt with me, don't blame me for sleeping with you in the bathroom. In order to show a more vicious and evil expression, she stared at Zhou Xian's misty face and added another sentence. And the kind of sleeping where you're hovering between life and death. Zhou Xian couldn't help but laugh. Alright, I'll let you sleep however you want. Vicious and evil expression had no effect on Zhou Xian. On the contrary, it made Yiqing Luo's face turn even redder. As a new human in the 21st century, she couldn't win against an ancient person and was even flirted with till her face turned red. What should she do? Waiting online urgent. Yiqing Luo was still gritting her teeth when her body suddenly felt light as she was carried by Zhou Xian. The towel on her body slid down. The jade-like body of the moon under the bright and dazzling bathroom lights seemed to be plated with rays. Previously those injuries in the dark sacred region, under his meticulous recuperation, there wasn't a single scar at all. Every part of Yiqing Luo's skin was giving off an intoxicating charm. Her beauty was in her bones. Her charm was seductive to the bone. Zhou Xian's scorching gaze deeply gazed at every inch of Yiqing Luo's skin. Yiqing Luo bit her lower lip as she shamefully shifted her gaze away. Under Zhou Xian's scorching gaze, she could clearly feel her body temperature rising continuously. Her entire body felt weak and powerless. Her peripheral vision glanced at Zhou Xian's eyes. It was instantly engulfed by the burning flame in his eyes. Her mind was empty. It was indeed not the first time they met each other. And it was indeed not the first time he looked at her from head to toe. But she still felt extremely bashful. When her body submerged into the warm bathtub, Yiqing Luo then dared to shift her gaze. The bathtub was filled with bright rose petals, concealing the body under the water. It also made Yiqing Luo less bashful. Her curly long eyelashes fluttered as she stared at the man with a flushed face. You said before only dispel the yin qi. Zhou Xian's hoarse voice was filled with a strong sense of affection. The mist was dense and rose petals were fragrant. That peerless face of his became even more alluring. Her heart trembled fiercely. Xian, hurry up and disperse the yin qi. Once you're done then leave. What a torturous little devil. Why was he always flirting with her? Last time at the hot spring she failed to retaliate and slept with him. He once again presented an opportunity to her. She would really be drowned in sleep. Yiqing Luo suppressed the urge to turn into a wild beast. She was a woman, she had to be reserved. At the very least he had to maintain his outward modesty. Otherwise, if she were to retaliate against a man, Zhou Xian would think that she was unsatisfied. Although she was indeed, Zhou Xian was flirting with her very much. No. The man's hand gently caressed her exquisite and beautiful face. The exquisite skin, the silky smooth touch made Zhou Xian's entire body tense up. He was a normal man, how could he be indifferent to the beauty of his beloved woman in his arms? The scorching heat in his eyes had already revealed the deepest thoughts in the depths of his heart. But looking at the young lady's blushing face he couldn't bear it anymore. The petals in the pool were all overshadowed by Yiqing Luo's bright and beautiful face. The slightly fluttering eyelashes bit by bit stirred his heart. Chapter 1878. His warm, thin lips landed on her forehead, which was scorched by the heat. The man's intimate touch made Yiqing Luo's heart tremble slightly. She suddenly raised her eyes and met with a pair of peach blossom eyes which seemed to bear thousands of tender feelings in the world. The eyes were glistening, long and narrow with a demonic charm. In those eyes there was only her alone. As though in this world, the only person he could see was her alone. Yiqing Luo's blush grew deeper. She was so embarrassed that she didn't know what to say. Lil Luo, don't show this kind of expression, it will make me mistakenly think that you are. The man's deep voice lingered by her ear, inviting me. Yiqing Luo's cheeks were flushed. Only in front of Zhou Xian would she reveal such a charming and enchanting look. His voice was extremely pleasant to the ears. Yiqing Luo inexplicably thought of a sentence. This voice, even the ears are going to get pregnant from hearing it. She swung her fist and pounded on his chest. Following that she turned her face to one side, not wanting Zhou Xian to tease her until she completely lost her rationality. Xian forcefully turned her head over. He forced her gaze to meet his. Yiqing Luo shrank back slightly. The next moment the man's breath had already spilled onto her face. The temperature was scorching, his breathing heavy. His lips were on hers. When their lips were on each other they could only see each other. Evildoer. While she was muttering, Yiqing Luo spat out 2 words. Following that, she couldn't be bothered about the so-called lady's modesty. This evildoer was thinking of ways to tease her. If she was still indifferent, then there must be something wrong with her brain. Yiqing Luo suddenly stretched out her arms, wrapping it around his neck. The body, which was hidden in the water, suddenly exerted a little force. The man, who was still wearing a purple robe, was forcefully pressed into the bathtub. The man's black hair, which was scattered on his shoulders, was soaked in water. A purple robe, also in the water, was dyed like a poppy, mysterious and gorgeous color. Yiqing Luo's naked body pressed on Xian. His wet hair fell on his cheeks. Yiqing Luo's fair little hand had already hooked onto the knot of his collar as she gave a devilish and enchanting smile. "Ah Xian, see if I don't make you hover between life and death." The corners of Xian's lips curled up into a warm smile. "I'll do as you wish, I'll cooperate fully." In the bathroom, water splashed and music overlapped. The silhouettes of people drifted about in the room. The next day, Yiqing Luo said that she wasn't in a hurry to go to the battle plains, so she wasn't in a hurry to go. She asked Xian to set up a barrier and locked the array eye within the barrier. Following that, she and Xian changed into this era's clothing and brought Xian along as they started to tour this world which she grew up in. She told Xian all her secrets in full detail. For example, she had once lived in this era for a full 20 years. For example, how she crossed over to the Nirvana realm and became the new Yiqing Luo. She did not hide anything or hold anything back. When Xian heard that, there were some doubts in his heart. If it was said that Yiqing Luo's soul had swapped bodies, then the Nirvana realm's Yiqing Luo had replaced her. That was when he saved her from the dark sacred region, when her soul was damaged. He and Ghost Doctor thought of all ways and means to help her stabilize her soul and restore her soul. Obviously, the soul and this body were extremely compatible. He totally didn't feel any presence of a reincarnated soul. But looking at Yiqing Luo's serious and solemn tone, she apparently really treated him as the outsider who had replaced her. In this, there should be some secret which Yiqing Luo herself didn't know about. Chapter 1879. Thinking back to what the array eye had said, the reason why Yiqing Luo came to this plane from the soulless array. It was an expert who had spent over 100 years of cultivation to send her here. Obviously, that expert's motive was closely related to Yiqing Luo's transmigration to the Nirvana realm. Netherworld, could it be related to this matter? What happened? Yiqing Luo held on to Xian's arm as she indulged in the sight of him wearing a casual suit, yet still looking so handsome and peerless. Xian glanced sideways and smiled dotingly. "It's nothing." No matter what complicated secrets were hidden behind this matter, Xian did not intend to expose her for the time being. According to what Yiqing Luo said, Old Man Tsong had followed Yiqing Luo to Nirvana realm from this era. How could Old Man Tsong not see that Yiqing Luo's soul and flesh body were completely compatible? But now Yiqing Luo still thought that she had reincarnated in another person's body. That also meant that Old Man Tsong didn't intend to let Yiqing Luo know about this matter. Based on Yiqing Luo's strong character, let's put this matter aside for now. No matter if Yiqing Luo was Yiqing Luo or the Yiqing Luo who had reincarnated. His little Luo, or was his little Luo. Leading Xian, he toured one round around the 21st century. The two returned to Netherworld's villa. The Netherworld was not in the villa. Yiqing Luo thought of something and pulled Xian back to the room. She flipped her palm and summoned the nether mirror. What? Worried about Xiao Jin and Xiao Yi? Xian held her waist as the both of them leaned against the soft bed. Yiqing Luo shook her head. Yu Ming wants to leave this plane, he doesn't dare to lie to me. Then what do you want to investigate? Xian lifted a lock of her silky hair and brought it to his lips. Yiqing Luo curled her lips mysteriously. Injecting Xian energy, the surface of the mirror began to fluctuate. Soon after, a dazzling crystal ball appeared. You gave the crystal ball to Netherworld? Xian knew what Yiqing Luo wanted to do with just one look. Yiqing Luo raised her brows with a smile that didn't look like a smile. If I don't give it to him, how would I know his secret? The netherworld would never have thought of this. The netherworld mirror, which he had once regarded as a treasure, would now become a pair of eyes that monitored him. At this moment, netherworld was somewhere with the crystal ball. Not long after, the crystal ball was taken out of the brocade box. Through the crystal ball, the mirror began to display the surrounding environment. It looked like a laboratory filled with countless high-tech equipment. Yu Ming was sitting in front of a screen, his face full of respect and humility. After a while, the screen flickered with electric light. Suddenly, two people wearing black robes appeared, covering their entire bodies. From the body shape, Yiqing Luo could tell that it was a man and a woman. When those two people appeared, the man she was using as a cushion suddenly stiffened. Yiqing Luo keenly sensed the change in Damo Xian's emotions and turned her head to look at the man's dignified expression. Her lips curled into a sweet smile. Why? Do you know him? Damo Xian was silent for a moment, his thin lips moved slightly. I've met him once, a very strong opponent. Yiqing Luo's eyes widened in curiosity. For Damo Xian to call it powerful. How terrifying would that be? No wonder Damo Xian's expression was so grave. Did the netherworld listen to those people's orders? Yu Ming, what's wrong with you? Where's the netherworld mirror? The woman's sinister laughter was extremely ear-piercing. Yu Ming's expression changed slightly. That's not important. Has the revered returned? An icy cold voice was heard from the screen. Pass the tracking search bomb to me. Chapter 1880. Yu Ming narrowed his eyes. Based on what? Based on the fact that you're merely an abandoned trash. Yu Han sneered coldly. Abandoned. These three words pierced Yu Ming's heart. His expression instantly turned as cold as ice, as though it was covered with thousands of frost. Revered one ordered me to this plane to handle matters. It's not the so-called abandonment, I'm the same as you. His voice, word by word, was extremely cold. Between his brows, was tainted with an absolute cold storm. His scarlet-red eyes seemed to be dyed with blood. This look made Yu Han and Yu Nu couldn't help but feel a chill down their spines. On the screen, the two men's sinister eyes revealed traces of fear. Perhaps it was the fear in Yu Nu's eyes, which made Yu Ming regain his senses. He restrained the expression in his eyes as his expression returned to normal. I want to personally hand over the tracking search bomb to revered one. Yu Ming. Don't be so shameless. Yu Han berated in a cold voice because of the fear she had towards Yu Ming earlier. She felt a little ashamed. Do you really think that revered one sent you to that broken plane is to help revered one to handle matters? Yu Han rushed in front of the screen. Under the black robe, half of her treacherous and eerie face was revealed. Let me tell you, you've been exiled. Because you're a monster, a different species. Monster? Different species. Yu Ming's body stiffened slightly. He stood in front of the screen, his entire body was covered in flames, as though it had swept up a bloody storm. Yu Ming, don't listen to Yu Han's nonsense. Yu Nu hurriedly spoke, her voice was gentle. He's jealous of you for being able to do tasks in such an interesting plane. As for the tracking bomb, I'll go inform revered one, wait for me for now. The lady's delicate voice was like a warm breeze, brushing past Yu Ming's heart. No matter how much anger he had at this moment, it all disappeared. He gazed deeply at the lady on the screen as he nodded. Yu Han, who was standing by the side, seemed to want to say something, but her arm was grabbed tightly by Yu Nu. The both of them disappeared in front of the screen. On the other side, Yiqing Luo stared at the image on the mirror as she clicked her tongue. That's the lady that Yu Ming likes. I don't know what she looks like, but I think Yu Ming's love should be one-sided. Everyone could see that. That woman and the other man on the screen, their relationship was definitely beyond that of friends. Hades was probably the only one who hadn't figured it out. Or could it be that he had already seen through her, but she was just pretending to be dumb to give herself space to fantasize? Yiqing Luo changed her position in Damo Xian's arms as she kept some profound energy. But how their feelings are has nothing to do with us. She raised her head and from this angle she looked at Damo Xian's face. Xian, who do you think those two people and the venerable one they mentioned are? She reached out and stroked his cheek with her slender fingers. Damo Xian's eyes were tranquil, his expression was no longer as solemn as before, but was indifferent, as though it was of no importance. I don't know. These two people are from the upper realm. The venerable that they are talking about should also be from the upper realm. His light and indifferent tone revealed that Zhou Xian had no interest in those few people. Yiqing Luo brushed the black hair on his shoulder as she agreed, to be able to make you feel that they are strong opponents, they are definitely not from Nirvana realm. Zhou Xian stretched out his hand as he grabbed her little hand. No matter what their identity is, as long as their motive is you, even if they are from the upper realm, I will still go against the heavens for you. Yiqing Luo's eyes were filled with smiles as her arms circled around his neck. Chapter 1881. I'm just a mortal. They are from the upper realm, how could their target be me? Yiqing Luo raised her brows. From what I see, their target should be the Yi family's ancestors' belongings, for example. The Azure Dew bracelet. She stretched out her hand and waved it in front of Zhou Xian. The cherry blossom pattern around the wrist of the fair lotus root was extremely eye-catching. Zhou Xian's fingers caressed the lifelike pattern. It's also possible. Old Man Song has already concealed all the presence of the Azure Dew bracelet. No matter how that so-called venerable searches, he will not detect that the Azure Dew bracelet is on me. Yiqing Luo stretched her waist, just as she wanted to change her position and lie in his arms. The Ming mirror suddenly flashed. It reminded her that there was movement in the crystal ball. Yiqing Luo immediately injected her profound energy and locked onto the crystal ball. At this moment, Yu Ming had already placed the crystal ball on the screen. But on the other side of the screen, there was no sign of that so-called venerable. It was still the same man and woman. The venerable wants us to ask you, have you tracked the thing that the venerable needs? Yu Ming's evil voice rang from the screen. Yu Ming stared at Yu Nu for a moment. His finger touched the search flick. The search flick suddenly clasped tightly on the screen. Immediately, a set of precise electronic data appeared on the screen. After a while, a robotic voice came from the screen. The tracking result shows that there is no reliable information found. Immediately, the people on both sides of the screen were stunned. Immediately, for pairs of eyes met, the expressions on their faces were all astonished. No reliable information found? Does it mean nothing was found? Yu Nu's voice revealed some fear. Yu Ming's fingers quickly swiped on the precise data, his brows knitted tightly. Impossible. As long as that thing is in the Yi family's graveyard, it will definitely be found. Just as his voice fell, his sliding fingers paused. Don't tell me. That thing is not in the Yi family's graveyard? Other than the Yi family's ancestors' grave, where else can that thing be placed? Yu Leng snorted coldly. I think you obviously want to take that thing for yourself to betray the venerable. Childish. Yu Ming glanced at Yu Han with disdain. He didn't even bother to explain to her. Yu Han flew into a rage. Just as he was about to speak, Yu Nu had already pressed down his raised hand. After that, he looked at Yu Ming and said solemnly, Yu Ming, you can't joke about this. Investigate this thoroughly. The tracking results show that there is nothing in the target range. The mechanical voice sounded again from the screen. Yu Ming's finger slid down from the screen. You know my character, Yu Nu. I don't joke around. Ghost Girl's eyes turned cold as she looked at Yu Han beside her. She seemed to be hesitating about something. After a while she said, I will tell the Venerable One the truth about this. As he spoke, he cut off the connection with the screen. Bang! The crystal ball exploded on the screen. It didn't matter if the search missile could find the target or not. After the command was given, they would self-detonate. Yu Ming's body swayed slightly and he fell heavily to the ground. His face was also filled with disbelief and astonishment. On the other side in the villa, the image on the mirror suddenly turned black following the explosion of the crystal ball. Yiqing Luo kept the mirror and looked at Zhou Xian with her charming eyes. Ah Xian, what do you think they are looking for? Now it could basically be concluded. The target of the search bomb wasn't the Azure Dew bracelet. Otherwise, the search bomb would have searched for her at the first instance. Chapter 1882. Zhou Xian lowered his eyes and gazed at the beautiful face of the young lady in his arms. His fingers caressed her face lightly. Something related to your Yi family. Yiqing Luo raised her brows. It is said that the ancestors of the Yi family owned many good things and any one of them made those old men excited. But I have no interest in those things. In other words, she couldn't figure out what Netherworld was searching for in the graveyard. It doesn't matter what it is. Zhou Xian carried her up. You've already gotten the Azure Aqua threads. That bunch of people no longer have the chance to enter the ancestral tomb. Yiqing Luo took the opportunity to raise her hand and put it around his neck, hanging in his arms. That's true, no matter what they want from my Yi family, they won't have this chance. So don't let those unimportant things occupy your heart. Zhou Xian carried her all the way to the spacious French window. As far as the eye could see, the sky was filled with stars and the scenery was pleasant. He put her down. From behind, he wrapped his arms around Yiqing Luo's slender waist. The two of them looked out of the French windows at the bustling scene of this era. Zhou Xian's head rested on her shoulder. The atmosphere between the two of them was comfortable and sweet. Now you can only think of me in your heart. The man's low and hoarse voice sounded sentimental. She loved the sound of his voice. In the Nirvana realm, both of them had too many things to settle and do. There weren't many opportunities for them to be alone. This was a rare opportunity for them to be alone, so they treasured it. There was no imperial palace, no devil class, no the world group etc. to interfere. Only the two of them quietly snuggled up to each other. Does Zhou Xian like this plane? Yiqing Luo's little hand played with those slender fingers that were placed across her waist. Zhou Xian's thin lips curled up slightly as his scorching breath sprayed onto her skin. I like it. His voice was as deep as fine wine. It is this magical place that nurtured such an outstanding little Luo. I like it here like the place where little Luo grew up. Yiqing Luo's heart seemed to be encircled by a warm current, and also seemed to be soaked in sweet honey. She turned around and lifted her eyes to look at Zhou Xian's face. A sweet smile bloomed on her lips. This man was getting better and better at flirting with her. As for her, he would always flirt with her until she was covered in pink bubbles. She was unable to resist his seduction. She was unable to resist his warmth. The young girl's cheeks blushed as she glanced around with her enchanting eyes. No matter how one looked at it, it was extremely alluring. Zhou Xian's gaze darkened as a trace of suppressed emotions surfaced. His slender fingers grasped her chin and he lowered his head to kiss her lips. Is he like this plane? This plane had made his little Luo strong, stubborn, and unyielding. It also allowed his little Luo to learn all the ways of survival. If they were in the Nirvana realm, it was impossible to give birth to such a dazzling woman. He should thank that force which brought Yiqing Luo to Nirvana realm. It was because of this energy that brought Yiqing Luo to the Nirvana realm. Only then would he be able to meet his destined person. The next day, Yiqing Luo and Zhou Xian released the array eye of the enchantment. The face which was covered in black fog in the devouring array eye revealed an extremely aggrieved expression. Yiqing Luo pretended not to see it as she turned her head to look at the silent Yu Ming who was sitting on the sofa. Have you decided to follow us back to the Nirvana realm? Ever since Yu Ming returned yesterday, he had been sitting on the sofa in a daze. Chapter 1883. It could be seen that yesterday's incident had dealt a huge blow to him. Not knowing if it was because the search bomb didn't manage to find what he wanted to search for, which caused him to suffer a huge blow. Or was it when he conversed with the cold ghost maiden's attitude towards him, which made him suffer a huge blow? Yiqing Luo only knew. The current Yu Ming was shrouded in a layer of low pressure. Hearing Yiqing Luo's question, Yu Ming calmly raised his eyelids. We're going to the battle plane now. Yiqing Luo looked at the greenish-black color under Yu Ming's eyes as she faintly sighed. If we can decode the God array, I will abide by my promise and bring you back to Nirvana realm. Yes. It was another calm word. Leaving this word, Yu Ming lowered his head once again. Apparently, he had no intention to chat with Yiqing Luo any further. Yiqing Luo's heart was on the two people in the battle plane. He wondered if these 2 days of being alone together, did it improve the relationship between those two people? Thinking of this, Yiqing Luo pulled Zhou Xian along as they followed the devouring array eye and left the villa. Battle plane. Inside the defensive barrier, Yan Xiaoyi leaned into Qiao Jin's arms as that exquisite face appeared slightly pale. Qiao Jin looked at the 6 empty water bags by the side as his brows creased slightly. This protective shield had indeed protected them from the attacks of those monsters for the past 2 days. But if they continued to hide in the defensive barrier, even if they weren't killed by the monsters, they would starve to death and die of thirst in the defensive barrier. They should be glad that Yiqing Luo had always emphasized that no matter where they were, their interspatial pockets must be filled with at least 5 bags of water and sufficient rations for 5 days. It was to prevent any accidents from happening. He and Yan Xiaoyi only had a total of 10 bags of water. Now the water and rations on them could at most sustain them for another 2 days. Moreover, Yan Xiaoyi's body was apparently a little strange. But no matter how he questioned, Yan Xiaoyi didn't relent. Instead, every single time she would use extremely hot and bold courtship words to change the topic. Slut Jean. The lady in his arms suddenly opened her mouth softly. Xiao Jin immediately lowered his eyes as he looked at her anxiously. Are you hungry? Eat some dry rations first. When we leave this place, I'll take you to eat something delicious. Yan Xiaoyi shook her head. Her slightly pale and exquisite face no longer had its usual loveliness. Instead, it had a lovely and moving look that made one feel pity for her. She wrapped her arms around his waist. I'm not hungry. I just want to talk to you. Okay, go ahead. Xiao Jin tightened his grip around her waist, his eyes filled with love. He couldn't restrain himself from caressing her pale face. The coldness caused his fingertips to tremble. Yan Xiaoyi leaned on his chest and the corners of her mouth raised into a beautiful arc. Slut Jean, it's already been 2 days. Do you think we can really get out? Yes, definitely. Xiao Jin said without hesitation. I said it before, we will all leave this place alive. But I feel that I can't hold on much longer. Yan Xiaoyi laughed softly. What nonsense are you spouting? Xiao Jin's tone sank as he reprimanded in a low voice. Don't say such depressing words. We can all get out of here alive. They will be here very soon. As long as they come. Mentioning they, Xiao Jin's expression turned slightly gloomy. Yan Xiaoyi thought that Xiao Jin was talking about Yiqing Luo and the rest. She rubbed her little face against his chest and raised her head. Her spirited and beautiful eyes stared deeply into his face. Slut Jean, in order to give me a belief that will keep me going, why don't you tell me your answer now, okay? Chapter 1884. The woman's soft voice carried a hint of coquettishness. Like a feather, it tickled Xiao Jin's heart bit by bit. The arms around the woman's waist tightened slightly. Xiao Jin hid the deep meaning in his eyes, avoided Yan Xiaoyi's hopeful gaze and said calmly, when we leave here alive, I will tell you my answer. Yan Xiaoyi's delicate face revealed a look of displeasure. She pouted her slightly pale lips and glared at him angrily. You only know how to fool me with these words. I am a woman and I have already boldly expressed my feelings to you. You are a man and you are still bashful and you only know how to drag me. As she spoke, she let out a soft snort and slammed her head into his chest. Xiao Jin's warm and thick palm immediately touched her forehead. He sighed heavily. Don't hurt yourself. Anyway, you won't feel heartache. Yan Xiaoyi let out another humph. When she buried her head in his arms, Yan Xiaoyi's bright and beautiful eyes gradually lost their light. There was an unconcealable pain in her eyes. Yan Xiaoyi understood Xiao Jin. Xiao Jin's not answering at this time, and it happened to answer Yan Xiaoyi. Even if they really got out alive, Xiao Jin's answer would only be, not liking her. Xiao Jin didn't like her. He didn't answer just to let her have a glimmer of hope so that she could hold on and live. Yan Xiaoyi closed her eyes slightly and held back the tears that were about to fall from her eyes. He would never know. Even if they left this damn place full of monsters alive, how would she get along with Xiao Jin in the days to come? Love but not get it. He had to pretend to let it go and call him brother. Living like this was the true cruelty of it all. Xiao Jin tightened his arms, and his eyes stared deeply at the woman in his arms. There was a complicated storm in his eyes. He could feel the low pressure of the woman in his arms. He wanted to comfort her. But he knew that he was already qualified. Yan Xiaoyi liked him. He was very happy and excited. The happiest thing in the world was that the woman he loved deeply also loved him. But, at the moment when the golden eyes were exposed, he and Yan Xiaoyi had completely no longer had any possibility. Yan Xiaoyi's current liking for him might just be liking. This kind of love would only happen a few years after he left. It would also dissipate with the passage of time. He couldn't because of his love for Yan Xiaoyi. It would delay Yan Xiaoyi's future. The pain now was for a better future for Xiaoyi. Xiao Jin suppressed his desire to comfort Yan Xiaoyi. His heart was filled with feelings for Yan Xiaoyi as he quietly hugged her just like that. The only thing he could do now was to hug her before he left. At this moment, the monsters that were fighting outside suddenly went berserk. The two people behind the protective shield also opened their eyes due to the monsters' rampage. The thousands of wild monsters in the empty space were like a tide of beasts. surging in a single direction. This scene shocked the two people sitting inside the barrier. What's going on? Yan Xiaoyi looked at those monsters in shock. The direction they were rushing towards was densely packed, and she really couldn't see where they were rushing towards. Qiao Jin shook his head, his expression solemn. Those thousands of wild beasts were rushing towards a certain direction. Not long after. Suddenly, a dazzling golden light spread across the entire void. Wherever the golden light went, the beasts let out sharp and painful howls. In an instant, blood and flesh splattered. Chapter 1885. Qiao Jin's expression changed. His eyes stared intently at that golden light as his expression slowly turned cold. Yan Xiaoyi stuck her head out from his arms. Slutjin, what is that? This golden light was extremely familiar. Just 2 days ago she had seen this powerful force on Qiao Jin's body. The monsters that were killed by this golden light were like a pile of dead meat, unable to regenerate. In the huge battle plane. Just at this moment, it turned into a dead silence. Yan Xiaoyi stared at the sky full of blood and flesh, as it splattered downwards as her expression turned even paler. Even if she was used to killing, seeing this kind of blood and flesh rain, she would feel so disgusted that she couldn't bear it. But more than that, she was filled with shock. She had fought with these monsters before. Naturally, she knew how strong these monsters' life force was. Even if she borrowed the black sickle blade's energy to battle, she wasn't able to annihilate 10 monsters at one go. But this golden light, it was able to annihilate thousands and thousands of monsters in an instant, and made them unable to regenerate. How heaven-defying was this? How strong was this energy? Yan Xiaoyi was certain that this was absolutely not the energy released by Yiqing Luo. Her little hand nervously grabbed Qiao Jin's clothes, as her eyes stared at the direction where the golden light was released. After some time she didn't get any response from Qiao Jin. Yan Xiaoyi's heart trembled slightly as she raised her eyes and looked at the man beside her. She saw Qiao Jin's steely green and gloomy as his eyes stared coldly in front. Perhaps the surrounding golden light was too dazzling. Yan Xiaoyi in Qiao Jin's eyes faintly sparkled with a sliver of golden light. On a closer look it was already pitch black. Slut Jin. Yan Xiaoyi gently tugged Qiao Jin's sleeve. Qiao Jin then reacted as the expression on his face suddenly turned gentler. No matter, the people who saved us are here. But his expression wasn't the least bit joyful. Yan Xiaoyi seemed to have realized something as she gripped his sleeve tightly. Who are they? Qiao Jin didn't reply. His gaze had already regained its previous calmness as his pitch-black eyes were fixated on the front. But after a moment the golden light which covered the entire empty space slowly dispersed. Everything in the surroundings returned to its previous darkness. Yan Xiaoyi only felt the hairs on her body stand up, her body tensed up, and an indescribable fear surged up her heart. She couldn't explain where this feeling came from. He only knew that the air pressure around him was gradually decreasing. The air gradually became cold. Even breathing was difficult. Yan Xiaoyi instinctively leaned into Qiao Jin's embrace. At the same time Yan Xiaoyi saw, from afar, 3 figures were approaching at high speed. That figure was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye he was already standing outside the barrier. There were 2 men and 1 woman. The man was about 23 or 24 years old, while the woman was about 17 or 18 years old. All of them were handsome and beautiful. What attracted Yan Xiaoyi's attention the most was the eyes of these 3 people. One of their pupils was golden while the other was black. The moment the 3 of them approached, even through the barrier, Yan Xiaoyi could feel the cold killing intent from their bodies. You guys are finally here, Qiao Jin said calmly as he looked at the 3 of them. The woman standing in the middle furrowed her brows, unable to conceal the disdain in her eyes. Why? Doesn't it mean that you can survive without relying on the power of your family? How long has it been and you can't hold on anymore? She sneered and looked around. This kind of lousy plane can also make you so miserable. 5th brother, we haven't seen each other for so many years. You've become more and more useless. Chapter 1886. 5th brother? Yan Xiaoyi was startled when she heard the way the lady addressed Qiao Jin. These people were Qiao Jin's relatives? But, looking at the atmosphere between them, there was no trace of kinship at all. Yan Xiaoyi thought of her own situation in the Yan family. Could it be that Qiao Jin did not get along well with his relatives? So for so many years, she had never seen Qiao Jin's relatives come to the Heavenly Academy and had never heard Qiao Jin mention about his family and relatives. Feng Yan. A man behind her reprimanded in a low voice. The lady seemed to be startled and immediately kept quiet. That man's face darkened as he stared at Qiao Jin. Come out quickly. Qiao Jin's expression was still calm as his voice revealed some coldness. I can't get out. The man's anger rose and his eyes were filled with anger. Even such a place can trap you. Our Huangfu family's face has been thrown away by you. The man's words made Qiao Jin's eyes reveal a trace of ridicule. Since you feel that I'm a disgrace, why did you specially rush over? The man's face was gloomy as he gritted his teeth and suppressed his anger. You think I wanted to come? I feel disgusted just by looking at you. Big brother. The slightly elegant man at the side frowned and said, we specially rushed over to Nirvana realm not to argue with fifth brother. The man who was addressed as Big Brother was the eldest young master of Huangfu family, Huangfu Dongyu. And the slightly elegant man was Huangfu family's third young master, Huangfu Qifei. The only woman was Huangfu family's fourth young miss, Huangfu Fengyan. Huangfu Dongyu snorted coldly as he looked at Qiao Jin with a gaze full of disgust. If it wasn't for the fact that you used Huangfu family's power and was found out by the 5 imperial elders, who specially ordered us to bring you back to Huangfu family, do you think I would rush over? Big brother, why bother talking to him with all this nonsense? Huangfu Fengyan's pair of demonic eyes glanced at Qiao Jin indifferently. That time when you left Huangfu family, you were so decisive and said that you would never inherit Huangfu family. Now you still can't get rid of the temptation of power and want to return to Huangfu family and occupy everything of Huangfu family. At this point she sneered disdainfully. In the end, you're just relying on the fact that you're the heir recognized by ancestor Huangfu to act recklessly. She paused for a moment. Her eyes, one gold and one black, stared fixedly at the youth inside the protective shield. Her red lips curled into a mocking smile. The son of AB*Th is the son of AB*Th. Even if you're the heir, it doesn't change the fact that you're the son of AB*Th. You're AB*Th to the core. Word by word, the harsh and sharp words pierced into Qiao Jin's heart. Qiao Jin's pupils constricted continuously. His calm face could no longer be restrained and became livid and gloomy. It seemed like in the next instant he would break through the protective barrier and tear apart Huangfu Fengyan's mouth. Yan Xiaoyi, who was nestled in his embrace, knew very well why Qiao Jin's mood had changed so much. Because Huangfu Fengyan had said the words, slut son. She could feel the man's body trembling. Yan Xiaoyi's heart instantly ached. She raised her pale face and glared at Huangfu Fengyan, saying sternly, as a bystander, I instead feel that you're the B*Th. Only the son of AB*Th would raise AB*Th like you who keeps on being AB*Th. Yan Xiaoyi's voice rang out. Huangfu Fengyan's exquisite face instantly darkened as her sharp gaze glanced at Yan Xiaoyi. Qiao Jin immediately tightened his arms and pulled Yan Xiaoyi behind him, blocking in front of her. Chapter 1887. Lowly woman. As if you're not a woman. Yan Xiaoyi could not bear to see Huangfu Fengyan provoking Qiao Jin's face. She laughed coldly and continued, right, how can a person like you whose mouth is filled with filthy thoughts be a woman? Huangfu Fengyan had never suffered such insults before. Her expression instantly darkened and turned malevolent. She raised her hand and a golden light flashed past her palm. With a bang, she struck a palm towards the direction of the barrier. Completely disregarding it. At this moment, Yan Xiaoyi was hiding behind Qiao Jin. If this palm landed, the one heavily injured would definitely be Qiao Jin. Slut Jin. Yan Xiaoyi cried out in panic, hugging his waist with both hands, wanting to forcefully change direction with him. But her body was pressed to the ground by Qiao Jin's strength, unable to move. Boom boom boom. That golden light smashed onto the barrier. The golden light flickered, emitting a deafening explosion. However, in the next instant that golden light was reflected back. Huangfu Fengyan simply did not expect that this barrier had the ability to reflect. She was unable to react for a moment. Fortunately, Huangfu Dongyu reached out to pull Huangfu Fengyan in time. Only then did he barely prevent the tragedy of Huangfu Fengyan being injured by his own palm wind. But Huangfu Fengyan's shoulder was still grazed by the golden light, and fresh red blood seeped out. The expression on her face instantly turned ashen. Her eyes shot out an extremely sharp cold light as she glared fiercely at the two people behind the barrier. Lowly woman. You dare to injure me? Huangfu Fengyan gritted her teeth, her expression savage. Before Yan Xiaoyi could speak, she was already blocked by Qiao Jin behind her. Qiao Jin's expression was cold. Huangfu Fengyan, watch your mouth. Huangfu Fengyan's hand that was covering the wound on her shoulder paused. Hearing his words, she could not help but laugh. Looks like fifth brother cares quite a lot about this lowly woman to be so protective of her. Why, this is the woman you fancy? Well, Qiao Jin's voice was piercingly cold. He's my classmate. Huangfu Fengyan swept a nasty look at Yan Xiaoyi. Is that so? The way she looks at you is filled with love. That doesn't mean I like her. Qiao Jin's tone became heavier, as if he was extremely impatient. You didn't come here to denounce me for liking that woman, did you? Indeed not. Huangfu Fengyan looked at the lady behind Qiao Jin. The bright light in her eyes suddenly dimmed after Qiao Jin's words, and her mood became indescribably happy. Even the wound on his shoulder didn't seem to hurt anymore. What she loved the most in her life was to see lovers who couldn't be together in the end. Just like now. When Yan Xiaoyi heard Qiao Jin's words, her face turned paler by several degrees. She was just his classmate. She loved him, but it didn't mean that he would love her back. Although from the start she already knew that Qiao Jin would give her such an answer. But when he really heard the answer, her heart was still aching uncontrollably. It was her who had sunk into the beautiful dream of the past 2 days. She thought that Qiao Jin actually loved her too. It was just that he was so full of himself that he would eventually wake up from his dream. She pursed her red lips and suddenly felt that her actions just now were extremely ridiculous. He was just his classmate. What right did she have to reprimand his loved ones? Yan Xiaoyi lowered her eyes. Her gaze seemed to have lost all its luster and she didn't speak again. Huangfu Dongyu's face darkened and he had already lost his patience. Enough. Don't waste time, we can't stay in the lower realm for too long. Chapter 1888. Huangfu Qifei looked at Qiao Jin and frowned. Qiao Jin, come out, follow us back to the Huangfu family to accept punishment. Qiao Jin's expression once again regained its previous calmness. He curled his thin lips in a smile that wasn't a smile, smiling somewhat sinisterly. You saw it too, we can't get out of this thing, you guys can't enter either. Huangfu Trio's expression instantly changed. They were naturally clear of Huangfu Fengyan's ability. Huangfu Fengyan's palm just now used at least 50% of her profound strength. It was all reflected back by this protective barrier. Huangfu Fengyan narrowed her eyes, staring at the protective barrier and said in a cold voice, You don't want to return to the Huangfu family, so you intentionally shut yourself in here? Seemingly finding an excuse. Huangfu Qifei's elegant and handsome face tightly furrowed, echoing Huangfu Fengyan's words. Fifth brother, if you really don't wish to return to the Huangfu family, then you should fulfill your promise back then. Since you've already used the Huangfu family's strength, then no matter how you hide now, you must return to the Huangfu family. Our fifth brother completely looks down on the Huangfu family. Huangfu Dongyu said eccentrically, since that's the case, we'll now, before he finished speaking. Suddenly within the battle plane, a vast and terrifying energy surged over like a torrential flood. As if the energy that was imprisoned and suppressed was suddenly released. That powerful energy caused everyone present to reveal a horrified expression. Can't come out? This old man wants to see how this thing can't come out, can't enter. A deep voice, vigorous and powerful. Immediately after, a figure like a ghost appeared in front of the protective barrier. Yan Xiaoyi didn't even have time to see that person's appearance clearly. Then she heard an earth-shattering sound. Rumble. Her body was tightly hugged by Qiao Jin. Her head was forcefully pressed into Qiao Jin's embrace. Yan Xiaoyi was just about to struggle when she suddenly felt something heavily smashing down on her. Qiao Jin's breathing from time to time became heavier by the side of her ear. She hurriedly opened her eyes, raising her beautiful eyes, only to see that the protective barrier around the two of them had unknowingly shattered. It was also unknown what material the fragments of the protective barrier were made of. The fragments were sharp and heavy. Crashing onto Qiao Jin's body, Yan Xiaoyi could even hear the sound of the heavy object crashing onto flesh. Slut Jing. Yan Xiaoyi's voice trembled as she tried to push Qiao Jin away. But how could her strength compare to Qiao Jin? Elder Jin Huang. The respectful voices of Huang Fu and the other two rang out. The fragments of the protective shield had already fallen to the ground. Qiao Jinkai let go of Yan Shaoyi, turned around and looked in the direction of the voice. He cupped his fists and bowed in that direction. Elder Jin. Yan Shaoyi stood behind Qiao Jin. She could clearly see an old man dressed in a golden robe with a golden dragon embroidered on his waist. He looked extremely respectable. Emperor Jin slowly turned around. He was about 56 or 57 years old and looked very energetic. His eyes were filled with a dignified light. Just by staring at Qiao Jin quietly, it gave people a tremendous pressure. "It's really not easy to find you," the Metal Emperor said coldly. He did not show any anger. Qiao Jin looked at the Metal Emperor calmly, the corners of his lips twitching with a faint smile. "Because I don't want to be discovered by you." The Metal Emperor swept his gaze around, finally fixing his gaze on Yan Shaoyi, who was behind Qiao Jin. His sharp eyes lit up. "For a woman, you are willing to risk being discovered by us and use the power of the Huangfu family to protect her?" Chapter 1889. Qiao Jin pursed his lips and pretended not to care. "It has nothing to do with her. I just want to live." Elder Jin smiled meaningfully. He looked at Qiao Jin as if he was looking at a chess piece in his hands. "You are the heir of the Huangfu family. You must return with me." Qiao Jin's calm expression changed. A hint of resistance flashed in his eyes. Elder Jin's eyes glimmered as he took in the expression on Qiao Jin's face. He suddenly grinned, his smile somewhat cruel. "Qiao Jin, as the chosen successor of the Huangfu family, you should settle down after running away for so many years. Even if you aren't willing to become the successor, but you still have to think of your pitiful mother. If you insist on running away from the Huangfu family and disturb ancestor Huangfu, you should be very clear on how the Huangfu family will treat your pitiful mother." He mentioned his mother. Qiao Jin's expression turned livid. His dark eyes flashed with an extremely cold light, and his pupils faintly flashed with gold light. "Your poor mother can survive until now only because of your identity as the heir. But, if you insist on resisting the identity of the heir, you will no longer have the ability to protect your poor mother." Elder Jin chuckled. His voice was bone-chilling. Every word was like a knife stabbing into Qiao Jin's heart. His meaning was clear. After being willful for so long, it was time to settle down. If Qiao Jin continued to be willful and run away from the Huangfu family, they would target Qiao Jin's mother. His mother was Qiao Jin's sore spot. Elder Jin was right. He did not want to be the heir. He wanted to run away from the Huangfu family. But he had to worry about his mother. He could run away easily and willfully because he knew that the Huangfu family valued the heir very much. No matter what his identity was. As long as he was still the heir, the Huangfu family had to take good care of his mother, who gave birth to the heir that was valued by their ancestor. However, it was enough for him to escape from his family once. There was a second time. Even if he was the heir, the Huangfu family would not allow him to be willful. Qiao Jin clenched his fists. The golden light in his eyes grew brighter. The dazzling golden eyes caused the expressions of the 4 Huangfu clan members to turn even uglier. This was especially so for Huangfu and the other 2. Their eyes were filled with unconcealable jealousy. They were jealous that Qiao Jin had such a pair of pure golden eyes. He was jealous that Qiao Jin could become the successor of the Huangfu clan. Qiao Jin calmed down. Emperor Jin stroked his beard in satisfaction. The glint in his eyes was obvious. Pausing, his gaze looked towards Yan Shaoyi, who was behind Qiao Jin. "It's rare that you like a young lady. This old man will make the decision and allow this young lady to follow you back to the Huangfu family. This will also prevent you from fleeing the Huangfu family because you can't see her." "No need." This time Qiao Jin answered extremely quickly. He stood in front of Yan Shaoyi. His tall and broad body blocked Yan Shaoyi's figure completely behind him. "He's just my classmate. There's no need to drag an unimportant person into our Huangfu family." Qiao Jin's face darkened as he gave Elder Jin a warning look. His golden eyes shone with a cold light. As if the Golden Emperor dared to implicate Yan Shaoyi. It was as though he was about to explode. That threatening look made the Golden Emperor's lips curl into a meaningful smile. The more nervous Qiao Jin was, the more he showed that he cared about this Nirvana realm young lady. Chapter 1890. Elder Jin knew what was going on. But in front of Xiao Jin he naturally wouldn't show it. He followed Xiao Jin's intentions and stroked his white beard. Since that's the case, then leave this unrelated lady here. Successor young master, follow us back obediently. Xiao Jin looked at Elder Jin's scheming eyes and his tightly pursed lips turned slightly pale. After a while he lifted his feet and moved forward. Suddenly, a hand tugged at his sleeve from behind. Xiao Jin stopped in his tracks and turned back to look at her. Meeting a pair of reddened eyes. He felt a sharp pain in his heart. As if he knew what Yan Xiaoyi was thinking, he anxiously tried to break free from her tugging. However, Yan Xiaoyi threw herself into his arms. She wrapped her arms tightly around his firm waist and abdomen. Her beautiful red eyes stared at Xiao Jin without blinking. Don't think of leaving me behind. Xiao Jin, no matter if you want to return to the devil class with me or go to whatever Huangfu family, don't think of leaving me behind. He was furious and forcefully pulled Yan Xiaoyi out of his arms. Don't mess around, this is not the time for you to be willful. Yan Xiaoyi stubbornly bit her lips. I'm not messing around. I've said it before, I like you, I like you. No matter if you like me or not, I'll follow you wherever you go. She had already clearly told Xiao Jin her feelings for him. She had no intention of backing down because of Xiao Jin's unlove. Because she loved Xiao Jin. She believed that as long as she used her sincerity to accompany Xiao Jin, one day Xiao Jin would understand her feelings. If Xiao Jin left with these Huangfu family people, she would never have the chance to meet Xiao Jin again. No matter what, she didn't want to leave Xiao Jin. The lady's crisp and clear voice was filled with sincerity. Xiao Jin's body suddenly froze. His eyes glimmered as they met the lady's gaze. Such a bold and unpretentious confession and courtship made Xiao Jin's heart bloom like flowers in spring, blooming with a riot of colors. He wanted to hug Yan Xiaoyi so much. He wanted to pour out all his feelings for her, to let her understand. However, Emperor Jin's cold, smiling voice rang in his ears. Young master successor, since this young lady loves you so much, why do you have to hurt her heart? It won't be a problem for our Huangfu clan to raise one more girl. He laughed cruelly, seemingly thinking for Xiao Jin's sake. His voice brought Xiao Jin back to his senses under the ecstasy of Yan Xiaoyi's confession. He suppressed the excitement in his heart and the impulse to embrace Yan Xiaoyi into his arms. Xiao Chen's face was ice cold as he looked at Emperor Jin coldly. He exuded a strong magnetism that was extremely oppressive. Emperor Jin, you are one of the Huangfu clan's imperial elders. Your every word and action represents the Huangfu clan's identity and quality. Is this the quality of the Huangfu clan to casually insult young ladies' reputation? He lifted his head slightly. His ordinary-looking face exuded a noble and arrogant aura. The smile on Emperor Jin's face darkened. He seemed to be angry that Xiao Jin actually dared to have such a dark expression on his face. However, no matter how displeased he was, Emperor Jin still lowered his head and said word by word, young master successor is right. I really shouldn't have insulted young lady's reputation. Xiao Jin brushed away the hand that was hugging his arm and glanced at Yan Xiaoyi coldly. Yan Xiaoyi, you are a woman. Can you be a little more reserved? You've only gone through life and death with me for less than 2 days and it has developed to the extent that you want to depend on me for the rest of your life? How worried are you about getting married? Asterisk. Chapter 1891. Xiao Jin's lips twitched in disdain. Just because you like me, I have to let you stay by my side? Yan Xiaoyi, can you be more shameless? Can you be more reserved? His sharp voice pierced Yan Xiaoyi's eardrums like a sharp knife. Yan Xiaoyi's face turned pale instantly. Her eyes widened in shock as she looked at Xiao Jin in disbelief. She could not believe that these words came from Xiao Jin's mouth. He said she was shameless. He was not reserved. He hated her that much. Was he so unwilling to let her stay by his side? Yan Xiaoyi's hand was forcefully pushed away by Xiao Jin. She staggered back a few steps, almost losing her balance. Xiao Jin had already concealed his expression and walked towards Elder Jin expressionlessly. Elder Jin and the 3 Huangfu family members glanced in Yan Xiaoyi's direction. Then they walked towards Xiao Jin. Elder Jin stretched out his hand, wanting to grab Xiao Jin's arm and take him away. Old man, how dare you touch my brother? His clear voice seemed to be covered in layers of frost. Then a ray of dark light as fast as lightning exploded towards them. A vast amount of energy released a shocking power. Elder Jean sensed the surging energy and quickly retreated a few steps. Bang! A deafening sound rang out. The surroundings seemed to be cracked, the earth quaked and the mountains shook. At the place where Elder Jean had been standing just now, a beam of energy suddenly exploded. Elder Jin's face darkened. He could not help but be shocked. There was actually such a powerful force in the lower realm? How was this possible? If this force had hit him, he was afraid that he would either die or be crippled. Elder Jin's expression suddenly turned serious. He raised his eyes warily and looked in the direction where the force had come from. He had just raised his head when he saw a stunning girl dressed in a fiery long dress. She seemed to be stepping on the void as she walked towards him. Her surroundings were pitch black and the faintly twinkling stars made her look like a fairy from the 9 heavens. Like a fiery red dress, like the clouds of sunset, a gorgeous arc swept past. Under everyone's gaze, the young girl had already walked in front of them. The light in the young girl's charming eyes was cold and filled with an extremely strong murderous intent. She was clearly a beauty that could topple cities. However, it caused one to feel a sense of fear from the bottom of their hearts. This young girl. Who was she? Was she a human from the lower realm? No, impossible. How could there be such a beautiful and refined girl in the lower realm? Who are you? You dare to meddle in my Huangfu clan's matters? After Huangfu Fengyan saw the young girl's appearance, jealousy grew in her heart. Fourth young lady. Emperor Jin shouted. His face was gloomy as he glared at Huangfu Fengyan. Couldn't this idiot girl tell that this young lady wasn't someone to be trifled with? Then Elder Jin immediately bowed and looked at the young girl. Senior, although my fourth Mrs. words are a little harsh, they are the truth. This is a family matter. If Senior is passing by, is there something wrong with your Huangfu family's ears? The young girl interrupted Elder Jin impatiently. Her charming eyes were filled with ridicule and coldness. Family matters? Qiao Jin and Xiao Yi are my Yiqing Luo's family. Whatever family matters you want to settle, I'll talk to you. These words really didn't give any face to the Huangfu clan. Elder Jin's respectful attitude turned gloomy. Senior, you, don't call me senior. Yiqing Luo's eyes were filled with arrogance. I'm only 15 years old. You're already half in the coffin, aren't you ashamed to call me senior? Chapter 1892. As one of the 5 emperors of the Huangfu family, when had he ever suffered such humiliation? Especially when he heard Yiqing Luo said she was only 15 years old, he felt his face burning hot. He, the dignified Golden Emperor, addressed a 15-year-old young lady as senior. If this matter were to spread out, how could he survive in the Huangfu family? However, in the next instant the words 15 years old stunned Elder Jin. 15 years old. This young lady was only 15 years old? 15 years old and already had such powerful and boundless power? When did that bunch of trash from the lower realm have such incredible innate talent? Cut the crap, this godforsaken place is going to give birth to a new monster. Yiqing Luo strolled to the front of Qiao Jin and Yan Xiao Yi as she crossed her arms. I'm their representative, whatever family matters you have, just say it. Qing Luo. Qiao Jin frowned and immediately tugged at Yiqing Luo. Don't go against the Huangfu family, that's a power that we can't go against. They want me, I'll just go back with them. Yiqing Luo directly slapped the back of Qiao Jin's hand. She sneered at Qiao Jin as the anger in her eyes was obvious. Shut the F*** up, I haven't even taught you a lesson and you're already thinking of escaping with that old man? Heh. Heh. Saying that, she winked at Yan Xiao Yi's direction. That wicked smile on her lips was like a blooming poppy, giving off a fatal temptation. Xiao Yi, don't worry, if this fellow dares to hurt your heart, I'll beat him till he can't get up. Yan Xiao Yi was stunned and was about to shake her head to reject. Qiao Jin didn't love her, that was a problem with her charm. Even if she beat Qiao Jin up, that wouldn't change the fact that Qiao Jin didn't love her. But at the next moment when she met Qiao Jin's surprise, a helpless expression flashed past her eyes. He suddenly seemed to have caught on to something. She nodded her head at Yiqing Luo. All right, I'll wait for you to teach him a lesson on my behalf. Yiqing Luo's brows rose as she shifted her gaze back onto Elder Jin. Old man, you've heard it too. I have to bring this lad back home to teach him a lesson, so there's no way for me to let him go, so I've troubled you to make a wasted trip all the way here. Preposterous. Elder Jin flew into a rage and he fumed with rage. Who the hell are you? Yiqing Luo smiled sweetly, the person who snatched him from you. A cold glint flashed across Emperor Jin's golden and black eyes. Impudent. Huangfu Dongyu's face was gloomy, and he assumed the attitude of eldest young master Huangfu. He furrowed his brows and glared at Qiao Jin. Fifth brother, are these the random friends you made in the lower bound? He snorted coldly, full of disdain. She's shameless and doesn't know how to be reserved. One is arrogant, willful, and has no manners at all. I really don't know what exactly you've done in the lower worlds to embarrass the Huangfu family. Hearing Huangfu Dongyu's reprimand, Yan Xiaoyi's face turned green and red. She bit her lower lip tightly, enduring the shame in her heart. Qiao Jin noticed Yan Xiaoyi's expression. He turned sideways and suddenly stretched out his hand to hold Yan Xiaoyi's little hand. His large, broad palm held her tightly. Yan Xiaoyi raised her head in astonishment as she tried to retract her hand in a fluster. But Qiao Jin held her even tighter as he shook his head at her. He indicated to her not to take Huangfu Dongyu's words to heart. Just as the both of them were entangled, the crisp sound of a slap resounded through the silent void. Chapter 1893. How dare you hit me? You're just a lowly human from the lower realm, how dare you hit me? Huangfu Dongyu's raging voice was hoarse and sharp. He covered his face. That handsome and gloomy face had already swollen up. Huangfu Qifei and Huangfu Fengyan's expressions turned extremely ugly. Yiqing Luo actually hit their Huangfu family's eldest young master right in front of them. Wasn't this a blatant slap to their Huangfu family? Jin Huang Lao's expression was extremely ugly. But it wasn't because Yiqing Luo had slapped the Huangfu family's face. But he was astonished because when did Yiqing Luo make a move under his eyelids? If it wasn't for that crisp slap, he probably didn't even realize that his eldest young master had been slapped by a 15-year-old young lady. Following that, a scene that made Jin Huang Lao even more shocked happened. He saw Yiqing Luo's lips curled up into a charming smile. That stunning face that could topple a city was bewitching and seductive, exuding an extremely seductive charm. Even the Jin Huang Lao who was over 50 years old couldn't help but lost his senses. He had to admit that this 15-year-old young lady indeed had the capital to become a femme fatale that could bring calamity to the country. Hee. I not only hit you, I also kicked you. The young lady's voice was sweet and slightly chilly. As the young lady's laughter approached, before Huangfu Dongyu could react, he felt a dull pain in his chest. Immediately, his body felt light as he flew out directly. Bam! In the end, Huangfu Donghuang's body crashed heavily into the empty space. Huangfu Donghuang rolled on the ground in pain as he wailed and tried to get up. He had just sat up when he felt a fishy taste in his throat. With a pfft sound, he spat out a mouthful of blood which stained his brocade robe. Lowly human from the lower realm, do you know what our Huangfu family is? Huangfu Fengyan was terrified as she stared at Yiqing Luo in horror. It seemed that they couldn't imagine that this innocent-looking young lady would actually hit their eldest brother again and again. Yiqing Luo sneered as her gloomy voice seemed to be ridiculing them. Don't let me hear a single word that insults my friend, otherwise every time I hear it, I will beat you up. Huangfu Fengyan was so angry that her entire body was trembling. Yiqing Luo raised her eyebrows, her bright and beautiful face was overflowing with a flamboyant aura. It seemed to be saying, "You don't believe me? Then go ahead and curse. See if this old lady will beat you to death." Huangfu Fengyan was so angry that her eyes turned red. She asked Elder Jin for help in a low voice. At this moment, Emperor Jin felt as if his old face had been slapped loudly. This time it was reasonable to say that he was too careless. But the second time was simply looking down on his authority as an imperial elder. Emperor Jin could not be bothered to guess the true identity of this 15-year-old girl. He only knew that if he allowed Yiqing Luo to make a move and insult his Huangfu family's young master or young Mississippi, their Huangfu clan would become a joke. His brocade robe fluttered and his golden eyes suddenly shot out an extremely cold light. The next moment Yiqing Luo clearly sensed it. The profound qi and fluctuations around Emperor Jin's body were constantly increasing. The surrounding air also began to condense into frost under the lingering of his profound energy. Chapter 1894. Yiqing Luo wasn't worried at all in the face of the violent profound energy. She stood in front of Qiao Jin and Yan Xiaoyi. She straightened her back without any intention of retreating. On the contrary, her pink lips curled into a sweet smile. As if she didn't care about Elder Jin's attack at all. Without a doubt, this caused Emperor Jin to feel even more humiliated. His anger surged, and the aura around his body began to surge one after another. The profound qi was like a raging wave just as it neared Yiqing Luo. Suddenly, a stronger wave of profound qi blocked in front of Yiqing Luo. It easily turned Elder Jin's profound qi into nothingness. Elder Jin stared at the wave of profound qi in front of Yiqing Luo in shock. The expression on his face changed unpredictably. Not only had his profound energy been blocked, but it had also directly dissipated? How was that possible? Even in the upper realm, there weren't many people who could dissipate his profound qi. How could anyone in this lower realm be able to block his power? What on earth was going on? There was such a powerful person in the lower realm. How could the people in the upper realm allow such a person to destroy the peace in the lower realm? Old man, are you surprised? Are you surprised? Yiqing Luo giggled. Who are you? Who are you? Elder Jin staggered a few steps back. His eyes were filled with unconcealable fear. Huangfu Fengyan barely managed to support Emperor Jin. The three siblings looked at each other and their hearts were filled with shock. Who was Elder Jin? He was an extremely distinguished existence in the Huangfu family. But at this moment he actually revealed a fearful expression towards a 15-year-old girl. Not only that, Elder Jin didn't gain any advantage in the hands of this 15-year-old girl. This world was too fantastical. Yiqing Luo smiled and tilted her head. Old man, not only is your power weak, even your ears are weak? Why do you always make me repeat the same words? Saying that, she sighed softly and pretended to be helpless. No choice, I am the daughter of a good family who respects the old and loves the young. I have to explain again, I am Qiao Jin in this lady's family. If you want to settle your family matters, look for me. Respects the old and loves the young? Daughter of a good family? Hehe. Why didn't they see it? In particular, Emperor Jin's current expression was ashen and ugly, like a vegetable. In the next instant, the great desolate Ian power in his body would go out of control. This was probably the first time the Metal Emperor had met someone who doubted his strength. Emperor Jin was supported by Huangfu Fengyan. Huangfu Dongyu was supported by Huangfu Qifei. The four of them stood opposite Yiqing Luo and felt an indescribable strong pressure, pressing down on their necks, making it hard for them to stand straight. On the other hand, the people in front of them were smiling sweetly and chatting happily. This joy was imagined by Huangfu and the other two. In reality, Qiao Jin and Yan Xiaoyi's expressions contained hints of worry. Qing Luo Huangfu family isn't a family from Nirvana realm. They are a family from the upper realm heaven realm's four great families. Qiao Jin looked at Emperor Jin's ugly expression as he reminded Yiqing Luo softly. Heaven realm? Yiqing Luo raised her brows in surprise. Little Jin, you're actually from the heaven realm, that's amazing. This wasn't the main point, all right. The main point was that the target she was clamoring about was the forces from the upper realm's heaven realm. Offending the heaven realm's forces would have a huge impact on her future. If Huangfu family wanted to find trouble with Yiqing Luo because of today's matter. Chapter 1895. Yiqing Luo's pink lips rose slightly as she raised her hand and rubbed Qiao Jin's head. Be good, don't panic. Before I kill you, I will absolutely not let Huangfu family's people kill you. Qiao Jin gave up on communicating with Yiqing Luo. They chatted as if there was no one else around. This caused the rage in the depths of Emperor Jin's heart to surge. He narrowed his eyes, and while Yiqing Luo was still chatting with Qiao Jin, his golden pupils suddenly flashed. A ray of golden light turned into a soaring energy as it sneaked an attack on Yiqing Luo. Qing Luo. Yan Xiaoyi faced this direction and immediately cried out in fear, "Be careful." Yiqing Luo blinked her eyes, her long curly eyelashes were like butterfly wings, gently fluttering. Hearing Yan Xiaoyi's call, she waved her hand without a change in expression. It's all right. His words had just ended when the golden light had already rushed in front of Yiqing Luo. With a loud bang, the golden light engulfed Yiqing Luo entirely. Qing Luo. Qiao Jin and Yan Xiaoyi cried out in alarm at the same time. Yan Xiaoyi wanted to rush forward and break through the golden light. Qiao Jin held her little hand tightly, the expression on his face was extremely solemn. Don't go over. Elder Jin's power is not something you and I can contend with. If you are touched by Elder Jin's dark force, even you will be engulfed. Qing Luo is here to save us. Yan Xiaoyi struggled against Xiao Jin's hand as her eyes instantly turned red. With a sobbing tone, she angrily rebuked Emperor Jin. So what if you're the Emperor Elder of a great family in the Heaven Realm? You still have to sneak up on a 15-year-old girl. Is this the style of your so-called big families? Emperor Jin was extremely annoyed by the scolding. His face was boiling hot and his heart was filled with shame. However, he would never admit that he had ambushed a 15-year-old girl. As long as he killed these people, who would find out if he hid this matter? With this thought in mind, Emperor Jin looked at Yan Xiaoyi with a murderous look in his eyes. Elder Jin Huang. Xiao Jin immediately pulled Yan Xiaoyi into his arms. He stared at Elder Jin warily and threateningly. As the heir, I order you to retract your murderous aura. Emperor Jin laughed sinisterly. All of a sudden he left the spot. Like a bolt of lightning he darted towards Xiao Jin. Xiao Jin's golden eyes flashed and he hurriedly wrapped his arms around Yan Xiaoyi's waist to avoid Elder Jin's attack. He narrowed his golden eyes and a dazzling golden light shot out. Are you disobeying the heir's orders? This old man is only doing this for the future of the successor's young master. These evil women who have changed the successor's young master must be eliminated. Elder Jin spoke in a dignified manner. Obviously he had made up his mind to kill Yan Xiaoyi. You want to eliminate us? Suddenly, a clear and melodious voice came from behind Emperor Jin. It was like a pearl falling onto a plate, pleasant to the ear. However, in Emperor Jin's ears. But it was like an evil ghost that wanted to take his life. It was as if an ice-cold hand had gripped his neck. Emperor Jin's body suddenly tensed up. A cold object was pressed against his neck. A face that could topple cities appeared in front of him. The girl's charming eyes curved into a long and narrow arc, bewitching and seductive. He was laughing. Her smile was charming and enchanting. Emperor Jin's heart skipped a beat and suddenly shrank. Just like what the old man said as Jin Zi's family, I should eliminate evil people like you who don't think for the successor. Yiqing Luo said with a smile, but the seriousness in her words could be heard. Emperor Jin didn't dare to move. Chapter 1896. Yiqing Luo blinked her pure and innocent eyes as she beamed. Because I have a protector. Protector? What the hell was that? Elder Jin's face was filled with uneasiness and doubt. Yiqing Luo very kindly raised her voice. My guardian angel, there's someone here who wants to see you. In the air there seemed to be a faint sigh. That sigh was filled with a touch of pampering and helplessness. The next moment, the surrounding aura suddenly fluctuated, pressing down on everyone, making it hard for them to breathe. Shortly after, the void turned pitch black. A man dressed in a purple robe like a banished immortal stepped on the air. The purple robe billowed, peerless. The figure that was slowly walking over was surrounded by a purple flowing light. Under the pitch-black void, it was extremely eye-catching. When a few pairs of eyes fell on that peerless face of peerless elegance, all of a sudden their legs went limp. In the next instant he knelt on the ground with a clatter. Elder Jin didn't even care about Yiqing Luo's glower flame fan as he knelt directly on the ground. The sharp blade cut through his skin. He didn't care at all as he respectfully knelt on the ground. Yiqing Luo kept her glower flame fan and stretched out her hands to the man who was coming towards her. Protector, I want a hug. The man's peach blossom eyes were filled with a pool of spring water. The way he looked at Yiqing Luo was pampering and gentle. He stretched out his hand and caught the young lady who pounced on him. His slender fingers gently brushed the hair on her forehead. Yiqing Luo rubbed against his palm contentedly, like a cat who had succeeded in stealing a fish. The sweet atmosphere between the two of them. Anyone could tell the relationship between the two of them. Elder Jin's forehead was covered in cold sweat. No wonder, a 15-year-old girl was able to block his attack and dissipate his profound energy. So it was the Overlord who had been secretly protecting her. If he had known that this young lady and the Overlord were so close, he would never come down to the Nirvana realm to catch any successor. Get up and get lost. Zhou Xian glanced at Elder Jin and the others. His tone was cold and emotionless. Emperor Jin kowtowed fiercely and said with a trembling voice, Yes, this lowly one will leave immediately, leave immediately. As he spoke, he crawled up from the ground, dragging the other 3 Huangfu siblings with him as he hurriedly left. Wait. Zhou Xian's eyes flickered as he spoke in a calm voice. Dong dong dong. The sound of their knees hitting the ground was extremely clear. When Yiqing Luo heard that, she couldn't help but felt a stinging pain in her knees. Qiao Jin is the brother of the future empress. If the future empress does not release him, then you people from the heaven realm should obediently stay in the heaven realm and not try to create trouble. His voice was calm and there was no way to hide his emotions. However, he was still emanating an irresistible pressure. It was as if he was born with a sense of nobility that made people unable to help but kneel and kowtow. Emperor Jin trembled uncontrollably, not daring to defy him at all. Not only did he want them to stop harassing Qiao Jin. Even if Zhou Xian wanted Qiao Jin to never return to the Huangfu family, he would also agree. Who cares about their ancestors' recognition? Who cares about the Huangfu clan's inheritance? Once Dizun was offended, don't even talk about inheritance. Whether the Huangfu clan could still exist was a problem. Zhou Xian swept a glance at Huangfu clan and the rest and spat out a word coldly, get lost. The next moment, Emperor Jin led the 3 of them and left without stopping. Chapter 1897. The battle plane was immersed in dead silence. Yiqing Luo stretched her waist as her slender brows rose slightly, as she swept a glance at Zhou Xian with a smile which didn't look like a smile. Her 2 fair and tender little hands climbed onto his face. Yiqing Luo's pink lips curled into a charming smile. My protector, the person has already been saved, tell me. How do we break the array? Zhou Xian held onto the little hand which was pinching his face, as he knew the anger under her smile. He sighed lightly as he grabbed her hand and placed it by his lips, giving a light kiss. If you want to break it, I can do it any time. Yiqing Luo's smile became even more radiant, but she withdrew her hand from his lips. The atmosphere was a little strange. On the other side, Qiao Jin's golden eyes were filled with a complicated expression as he looked at Zhou Xian, as though he was trying to guess something. But when Zhou Xian inadvertently glanced over and fixed his gaze on him, Qiao Jin suddenly felt a chill in his heart. His eyes flickered slightly as though he understood something. He immediately hid away the complicated deep meaning in his eyes, as he lowered his eyelids and hugged the lady in his arms tightly. Qing Luo. His voice broke the strange atmosphere. He hugged Yan Xiaoyi as he walked towards Yiqing Luo as his face turned pale. You're too rash. Huangfu family's power is something you can't imagine. Moreover, those arrogant imperial elders are so narrow-minded, they will not let you off. He raised his eyes and took a look at Zhou Xian as he pursed his lips. Even if the Overlord is here today, but the Overlord can't possibly be by your side all the time. If Huangfu family wants to make a move, I'm afraid even the entire imperial palace will not be able to protect you. Qiao Jin had grown up in Huangfu family since young. He knew everything about Huangfu family like the back of his hand. That seemingly noble and powerful family. Just how dirty and disgusting was it behind the scenes? Especially those 5 sanctimonious imperial elders, each more sinister and treacherous than the other. Yiqing Luo had humiliated the golden imperial elders today. And humiliated the 3 Huangfu family members. Huangfu family would definitely not let Yiqing Luo off easily. Yiqing Luo struggled her arm. Zhou Xian released the hand which was around her waist. Breaking away from the man's restraint, Yiqing Luo slowly walked towards Qiao Jin. He was only 2 steps away from Qiao Jin. She stood still and the corners of her mouth curled into a wicked and arrogant smile. That pair of enchanting and bewitching eyes flashed with nobility and elegance that made people look up to her. Jin, I've said this before. No matter who it is, those who offend me will be killed no matter how far away they are. So what if it's the upper realm, one of the 4 heavenly clans of the heaven realm? Her tone was calm. However, it still caused everyone to feel a boundless shock. Those who offend me will be punished no matter how far away they are. What kind of confidence did he have to be able to say such a thing? Qiao Jin's anxious and worried heart slowly settled down from Yiqing Luo's words. Since you don't want to return to the Huangfu family and become the so-called heir, then don't go back. No one can force you to do anything. Yes, except for me, of course. Yiqing Luo said in a serious manner, but suddenly thought of something and immediately changed her words. The solemn atmosphere instantly collapsed because of this change of words. Yiqing Luo gave a few dry coughs as she raised her hand and patted Xiao Jin's shoulder hard. To me, living a good life with my brothers, relatives and lover is enough. As for the rest, as long as we are united, there's nothing we can't cross. Qing Luo. Xiao Jin's golden eyes flashed as he was so touched that he murmured Yiqing Luo's name. The next instant, Yiqing Luo's heart-stirring smile on her face was replaced with a strange and crafty cold smile. Chapter 1898. Bam! A loud sound was heard. Yiqing Luo's finger knocked hard on Xiao Jin's forehead. That strength was obvious just from the sound alone. Yiqing Luo absolutely did not show any mercy. Lil Luo, Dmo Xian's brows creased as he immediately held Yiqing Luo's finger as his expression sunk. Xiao Jin hugged his head in pain as tears welled up in his eyes. A pair of golden eyes looked at Dmo Xian with an extremely aggrieved look. Right, Overlord, quickly teach this violent woman a lesson. If he didn't restrain her. In the future when they got married, the news of Overlord's suffering from domestic violence would spread throughout the entire Nirvana realm. However, Xiao Jin only saw Dmo Xian holding Yiqing Luo's hand gently. His slender fingers touched the finger which she used to knock Xiao Jin's forehead earlier. If you want to hit him, just use any fellow to hit him. Why do you need to do it yourself? What if your finger hurts from knocking? Xiao Jin. Was there any justice in this world? Xiao Jin's heart was filled with grief and indignation as he resisted the urge to condemn Dmo Xian and Yiqing Luo for abusing the dog. Suddenly, a hand gently pressed on the place where he was knocked by Yiqing Luo earlier. A soft little hand carrying a lady's fragrance. Xiao Jin's heart inexplicably turned soft. Does it still hurt? Yan Shaoyi rubbed his forehead as her fingertips were gentle, as though she was afraid that she would hurt him. That little hand was like a feather rubbing around his heart. Xiao Jin's heart melted a little. A broad palm held Yan Shaoyi's hand tightly. I don't feel pain. The man's palm temperature was scorching hot. It also scorched Yan Shaoyi's hand. Yan Shaoyi's beautiful eyes flashed as she immediately retracted her hand. Sorry. Xiao Jin subconsciously wanted to grab it, but his hand stretched out halfway as he thought of something. His hand froze in midair and finally retracted back bit by bit. He shut his eyes as he suppressed the restlessness in his heart. When Yiqing Luo saw this, her lips twitched a few times. This Xiao Jin, what on earth was his brain thinking about? Shaoyi had already done this much. If he was a man, shouldn't he take this opportunity to express his feelings? Why was he still acting coy? What was he trying to do? Earlier, Elder Jin had tried several times to get Xiao Jin to bring Yan Shaoyi back to Huangfu family but was rejected by Xiao Jin, which Yiqing Luo had witnessed. There was only one word in her heart to describe her feelings at that time. Damn. Shit. This kind of melodramatic plot was happening right in front of her eyes. What's more, the female lead was her best friend. At that time, Yiqing Luo's heart felt as though there were 10,000 bulls galloping around. Now Xiao Jin still had a look of enduring love. Yiqing Luo's impatient character couldn't wait to knead the both of them into a ball and settle the matter directly. Yiqing Luo took a deep breath and calmed her impatient heart. Soon after, she fixed her gaze on Xiao Jin and said in a calm voice, Xiao Jin, if you're still a man, then sort out your own feelings. Don't force your own thoughts onto others. Just because you think something is good doesn't mean it's really good. You're always worrying about whether you'll be a burden in the future, hurting others, hurting yourself, and in the end you'll be alone for the rest of your life, regretting it for the rest of your life. She intentionally emphasized on the word, her, as though she was referring to something. When Xiao Jin heard that, his body tensed up as though he was moved by Yiqing Luo's words. Yiqing Luo continued, one should live in the present and live well every single day today. If you're worrying about tomorrow every day, then tomorrow after tomorrow, how tired would you be living? Chapter 1899. Xiao Jin's mind kept reverberating with Yiqing Luo's words. His throat was dry and after spitting out a word he didn't say anything else. Yiqing Luo's words were right. He was indeed a waste. So useless that he didn't even dare to grab his own future. In his mind, Yan Shaoyi's hurt expression surfaced. Yan Shaoyi looked at him, her eyes were filled with pain. Yan Shaoyi was exhausted as though she had lost all hope towards this relationship. But at the next moment, Xiao Jin recalled these 2 days. Yan Shaoyi kept on brainwashing him, saying that she liked him, loved him and didn't want to leave him. She was such a proud lady. But she put down her status under the situation where he didn't respond. She kept repeating her feelings over and over again, as though she wanted to tell him all her love. Xiao Jin's heart suddenly twitched fiercely. A dull pain struck his entire body. He thought that he was doing it for her good. But in actual fact he hurt her deeply. He had been worrying for nothing and had imposed his own thoughts on Yan Xiaoyi. He wanted Yan Xiaoyi to accompany him and suffer from the pain of this relationship. He was really too selfish. Too selfish. In the name of love he did things that hurt Yan Xiaoyi. He really wasn't fit to be called a man. That old man has almost cleared all the surrounding monsters and the next wave of newborn monsters will probably be 1 hour later. You have 1 hour here to talk things out clearly. Yiqing Luo looked at Xiao Jin's moved expression as his body was trembling slightly as she spoke calmly. Feelings is most afraid of dragging it out. Speaking to this point, Yiqing Luo's voice paused as she squinted her eyes as a tinge of apprehension surfaced. Lastly, let me give you a piece of advice. You're not Xiaoyi, so what right do you have to make a decision for Xiaoyi? Saying that, she tugged Zhou Xian's sleeve, as she turned around and walked towards the other direction of the battle plane. In this empty space, only Xiao Jin and Yan Xiaoyi were left. Earlier Yiqing Luo's words were all heard by Yan Xiaoyi. It wasn't that she didn't understand the deep meaning behind Yiqing Luo's words. But she didn't dare to understand, nor did she dare to think too much. Afraid that if she thought too much it would only make her feel more despair. Looking at Yiqing Luo's departing figure, Yan Xiaoyi instinctively wanted to chase after him. She didn't want to be alone with Xiao Jin. He also didn't want to hear the answer from Xiao Jin's mouth. But Yan Xiaoyi was just about to leave with Yiqing Luo when her wrist was held tightly by his large palm. She was shocked and wanted to break free from his hand. Her evasive attitude made Xiao Jin's handsome brows knit together tightly. He grabbed her wrist forcefully and pulled her into his arms. His powerful arms restrained the woman and pressed her delicate body into his embrace, not giving her any chance to struggle free. Let go. Yan Xiaoyi pursed her red lips, not daring to look into his eyes. Was he in such a hurry to cut all ties with her? Xiao Jin knew that his previous actions had hurt Yan Xiaoyi's heart, which was why Yan Xiaoyi was against him. But want to talk to her gently. Yan Xiaoyi didn't have that intention and just wanted to escape. Xiao Jin's heart sunk as he recalled what Yiqing Luo said. He didn't want to make himself regret again. He also didn't want to hurt Yan Xiaoyi again to make himself suffer, to make Yan Xiaoyi suffer with him. How his future would turn out. It depended on himself and no one else. Thinking in this way, the decision in Xiao Jin's heart became even firmer. His slender fingers clasped Yan Xiaoyi's lower jaw tightly, forcing her to raise her eyes and meet his gaze. Chapter 1900. Slut Jean. What the hell do you want? Yan Xiaoyi was unable to shift her line of sight and could only use her beautiful eyes to glare fiercely at him. Her pink cheeks were tainted with a trace of shame and anger. What do you want to say? What do you want to say? I'll listen. The strength of Xiao Jin's fingers slightly lessened. His eyes had already returned to their ink-black color. His deep eyes stared fixedly at Yan Xiaoyi. Looking at her gradually reddening eyes, his heart twitched violently again. In the past you didn't even know how to be reserved and kept pestering me saying that you loved me. Now you're not even willing to talk to me? The Yan Xiaoyi of the past 2 days was even more pitiful. Unexpectedly, this sentence of his made Yan Xiaoyi's eyes redden even more. She bit her red lips and her eyes were filled with a trace of resentment. She stared into Xiao Jin's eyes and said word by word, "Yes, I don't know how to be reserved. Xiao Jin, I just like you. Because I like you, I don't need to be reserved. Are you satisfied now?" Xiao Jin. He was dumbfounded. Did he say something wrong again? Looking at Yan Xiaoyi, who was on the verge of tears, Xiao Jin wished he could slap his own mouth. He hurriedly let go of Yan Xiaoyi's chin and wrapped his arms around her petite body. He frantically tried to explain. Xiaoyi, I didn't mean it that way." Yan Xiaoyi quietly lowered her head and did not speak. Xiao Jin hurriedly said, "I'm not saying that you don't know how to be reserved. I want to keep you here. Don't go, listen to me." Yan Xiaoyi was still quiet, but her heart was beating faster. Xiao Jin's attitude and tone of voice. It made Yan Xiaoyi feel as though she was in a dream. But she didn't dare to think too much. Xiao Yi, other than the students of devil class, I've never had any special contact with any girl before, so I don't really know how to coax a girl, and I don't really know how to not treat a girl as my own brother. Little by little, Qiao Jin's words caused Yan Xiaoyi's heart to tremble. She lifted her eyes in shock and looked at Qiao Jin's face in disbelief. He said, "We don't treat each other like brothers." What does that mean? He said he wanted to coax her? Was she dreaming? But when she met Qiao Jin's eyes, that pair of eyes that were usually frivolous were now filled with sincerity. His large palm cupped her little face. "Xiao Yi, didn't I promise you that as long as we can leave this place alive, I will tell you my answer?" Yan Xiaoyi's chest tightened as her heartbeat accelerated. His gaze was fixed on Yiqing Luo without blinking. "My answer is Yan Xiaoyi. Towards you, I don't like you." His beating heart suddenly felt as if it had fallen into an ice house. His heart was throbbing, and in that instant it suddenly turned cold, so cold that it could pierce through his bones. Yan Xiaoyi's eyes gradually reddened. What else was she hoping for? After a long time she lowered her eyes, wanting to pry open Qiao Jin's hands. However, he suddenly pressed his lips against hers. His warm, thin lips kissed away the tears at the corner of her eyes. His kiss was extremely gentle, extremely gentle. "Towards you, I don't just like you. I love you. I love you, Yan Xiaoyi." His deep voice, beside her ear, was like a splendid firework blossoming. She was stunned. Because of his gentle kiss, her heart, which was in a daze, seemed to have stopped beating. He almost forgot to breathe. What did he say? He loved her. He loved her. Chapter 1901. Drops of tears rolled down from the corners of her eyes. It was different from the tears just now. These were tears of joy. "Xiao Yi, I'm serious. I really, really love you." When Qiao Jin saw that her tears were gushing out even more fiercely, he raised his hand helplessly and wiped her tears away. He stammered over his feelings for her. From his appearance, it was obvious that he had no experience in the field of relationships. Yan Xiaoyi couldn't help but let out a pfft laugh. There were tears in her smile, and her beautiful eyes were filled with joy and sweetness. "Xiao Yi, I'm telling the truth. Don't doubt me." Qiao Jin anxiously held her hand. "From a very, very long time ago, I only had eyes for you." "A long time ago?" Yan Xiaoyi wiped the tears from the corner of her eyes. "How long ago?" Qiao Jin's ears turned red. It's just that a long time ago, when I first saw you in the devil class, I fell in love with you." Yan Xiaoyi laughed. "Love at first sight?" Qiao Jin nodded vigorously. Actually, Qiao Jin himself did not dare to believe that he would fall in love at first sight with a woman from the lower realms. But it was that one glance, Yan Xiaoyi's figure, her smile and her frown, that had been deeply engraved in her heart. Qiao Jin tightened his arms around Yan Xiaoyi's slender waist. "Xiaoyi, I'm sorry. I've always loved you, but I used that as an excuse to hurt you." Yan Xiaoyi's teary eyes were filled with sweet happiness. However, after hearing Qiao Jin's words, a cunning look flashed across her eyes as she pushed his chest forcefully. "I don't believe you." Qiao Jin instantly panicked. "Really? I really liked you from the beginning. Then why, even though it was love at first sight, you refused to tell me? Even when I threw away my reservations and took the initiative to tell you my feelings, you still refused me." The delicate Yan Xiaoyi, at this moment in front of the man she loved, was like the girl next door. At this moment, Yan Xiaoyi understood clearly why the usually arrogant Yiqing Luo in front of Zhou Xian would behave like a lady. She was like this now. Yan Xiaoyi did not intend to let Qiao Jin win the beauty so easily. If it wasn't for Yiqing Luo's words which woke Qiao Jin up, wouldn't she be left behind by Qiao Jin for a period of time? Wasn't she going to be depressed because of Qiao Jin's rejection? Thinking up to here, anger surfaced on Yan Xiaoyi's face. Qiao Jin trembled with fear as he watched and immediately explained in a warm voice, "You have also seen it, my clan. I'm not someone from the Nirvana realm. In the future I will definitely head to the Heaven realm and become the successor of the Huangfu clan." At this point his expression dimmed a little. "I have no interest in the Huangfu clan, but the inheritance of the Huangfu clan is this pair of golden eyes. I'm the only one in the Huangfu clan who has both golden eyes. Only the inheritor of the Huangfu clan recognized by ancestor Huangfu will have two golden eyes." Yan Xiaoyi's anger dissipated a little. She reached out and wrapped her arms around his waist. "Is it because of your identity and your family that you keep rejecting me? The Heaven Realm was a place she could only look up to. If Qiao Jin returned to the Huangfu clan and inherited the Huangfu clan, then she and Qiao Jin would be separated by several planes, unable to meet each other again. Yes. Qiao Jin buried his head on her shoulder. I'm afraid that after we're together, if I have to leave you, you will be in even more pain. Sis.